I am a lesbian mom. And sometimes people still ask, how did you do that? This is how my daughter was conceived 30 years ago. When Erica and I first meet, she makes it very clear that she wants to have a kid. And I have never really thought about this as a possibility. But here's a chance to parent. And here's a chance to parent without giving birth. A year later, we ask Michael. Michael is an old friend of Erica's, and he agrees to be the sperm donor dad, but he doesn't want to be an active parent, which is perfect because we're going to be. He'll have a role to play. We're not sure exactly what that is, but we'll figure it out. Michael and his boyfriend live just a few doors down on Centaur Bay, which is critical because you've got to move quickly when the egg drops. So when Erica's temperature indicates that she's ready, we call up Michael, he ejaculates into a sterilized glass jar. He brings it over. My job is to put it into a needleless syringe, not a turkey baster because they're way too big, and then pop it into Erica. It takes 10 months to conceive, and people are surprised, like, oh, wow, that worked. Well, we have all the ingredients, but it is true that when you remove reproduction from the Sex Act, it can seem like more complicated and clinical, but not necessarily so. Pediatrician. Dr. Mock is recommended to us as a lesbian-friendly doctor. And, well, he's not exactly friendly, but he's non-judgmental and very matter-of-fact, which for 1993 is just fine. At this point, Erica's 39 years old, so actually, Dr. Mock's pretty attentive, and he wants her to take a few extra tests, which is actually very reassuring. Erica's a butchy kind of dyke, and she's the sort of woman who, when she goes into a women's public washroom, she will get looked at like, I think you're in the wrong washroom. But when she signs up for Aquabel, water fitness for pregnant ladies at the Y on Park Avenue, everybody's really nice. And I go a few times to watch, and I can see that we're a bit of a novelty. And people are trying to, check out this, non-traditional family. Her due date comes and goes. So finally, Erica will be induced. So me, Erica, and Michael go to the Royal Victoria Hospital's birthing center, early July 1994. And it's basically a 9-to-5 affair. Erica's induced, and the day goes by. It's pretty calm, and then around 4 o'clock, the action starts. And Dr. Mock sweeps in towards the end and catches our baby daughter, and he reaches for the scissors to cut the umbilical cord, and he hands them over to Michael. Oh, Dr. Mock, you missed the plot. I'm the active parent. And Michael looks at me like, oh, but of course it's moving way too fast. I'm like, oh my God, yes, take them. And he cuts the umbilical cord, and it's beautiful. A couple of days later, Eric and I and our newborn baby daughter, August, go home. Eric is tired and sore, and breastfeeding's a lot of work. So in between feedings, I pop August into this sling, this cotton sling, and it's got enough material to cover her because it's quite hot outside. And I go for a wander around our Mile End neighborhood. And I am visible in a whole new way. Everybody wants to look inside the sling. So I'm interacting with so many strangers. And when I'm out alone with her, I'm the mom. I mean, I don't look like I gave birth exactly in the first couple of weeks, but I'm the mom. But when Eric and I are out with her, there are questions. Cute baby, who's the mom? Well, we both are. Yeah, but who's the real mom? Who gave birth? And then the questions for me are you like a stepmom? Are you like an adopted mom? Are you like an auntie? And actually, in the first few months, I feel more like a dad. Nothing has happened to my body. And the relationship between a breastfeeding mom and child is really intense, so I feel very dad-like. And in fact, a couple of my male friends who've had kids, they really want to talk to me about being a dad. Now, these are early days for out lesbian parenting, but it's also an interesting cultural shift. There's something happens there in the mid-1990s where there's heightened lesbian visibility. Dykes are suddenly really in. Ellen DeGeneres comes out on primetime TV, which is a big deal. There's Newsweek magazine and Time magazine. There's cover articles featuring lesbian couples, and we are leading an out life in Montreal, and I do a radio show called Dykes on Mics. And and our little family becomes this go-to unit for media stories about chosen family and kinship and how do lesbians have babies exactly. So on the one hand, there's a lot of visibility. On the other hand, I'm still completely invisible as a legal parent. And there's only one name on the birth certificate, and that's Erica's. So Michael, even though he's not on the birth certificate, does have more parental rights than I do. So my biggest fear is that Erica's gone somewhere and something happens to August, and I've got to rush to the hospital with her, but they won't even let me in or do anything because I'm not a legal parent. I mean, I don't think about this often, but these are the circumstances, and, I have to trust. And that trust is really tested when Eric and I split up, when August is 3 years old. And not only is there the pain of separation, there's also this sense of failure. Like, I failed our little family, we're failing a community, we're lesbian pioneers, and it felt like we had to parent twice as good as straight couples in order to be as good, and splitting up, it felt like we had to do that 3 times better than anybody else in order to be as good. And in a way, maybe that worked for us because there was no legal recourse or precedent, so we really did have to work at it, and we co-parented from 3 blocks apart. In 2002, August is 8 years old, and there's another shift in Quebec for queer rights after years of lobbying. Same-sex civil unions are recognized, and there's an amendment that recognizes the rights and responsibilities of non-biological parents. So the law sees me and says, you too are a parent. And a couple of months later, we are holding in our hands a revolutionary legal document, a birth certificate with 2 mothers on it. My name is on the birth certificate. And I can't believe how emotional I feel. Because I'd gotten used to living a bit under the radar. I kind of liked it. It's freeing in a way. But this wasn't just about me. Having a kid meant coming out over and over again in all these straight places. The clinic, the garderie, schools, the playground. And having this legal document, it did give me a little more confidence to come out during a parent-teacher interview, but especially in those situations where August is standing beside me at all the different ages, and the questions start. And I turn to her, and I say out here, August has 2 moms, and I'm the non-biological mom. Thank you.